Hey, my name is Drew, and this is my Intet the Dreamer deck. Alright, this is my Intet the Dreamer deck. I built it just because I had made the 3D Intet already, and I wanted to have a deck to use it, because otherwise it was just sitting in my binder. Starting out with the mana base, of course, the Tower of the Magistrate, Yavimaya Hollow are some just basic good lands. And then have all the fetches, Scalding Tarn, Flooded Strand, Misty Rainforest, Wooded Foothills, Urzel Ventosa, the Windswept Heath, Stomping Ground, Breeding Pool, and then the regular Tropical Island, Volcanic Island, Taiga. Just one bounce land. They get blown up all the time, so don't run them all, but some filters and random red-green lands. The deck is mostly red-green, so I run more of those duels than others. And then a Mikakuro and a Reliquary Tower. Then the Mosswort Bridge, Temple of the False God, Spinerock Knoll. My favorite of those is probably the Mosswort Bridge. Being able to cast a counterspell to stop a Wrath is pretty fantastic. Oran-Rief, Command Tower, Fungal Reaches, and then a handful of basics. Of course, the Soul Ring, my only unlimited one, goes in this deck. Then some other mana ramp besides that, Farseek, Hunting Wilds, to make some guys also if I need to sacrifice to filter through Greater Good or something. It's great to have a top deck late game that can do that for you. And Mana Reflection, Skyshroud Claim, Solemn Simulacrum, and then just a little bit of card drawing. Because I've got Ristic Study in other decks, I decided to go with Mystic Remora in here. And Vedalken Heretic, which almost always gets in for a couple cards at the local place I play. And then Cerebral Vortex I usually just cast it for the draw, but it's always fun to hit somebody if they've drawn too many cards. If people go crazy with Consecrated Sphinx, it's nice to have an answer there. Because it's an Intet deck, I do want to play around with the top of the deck quite a bit. So a lot of cards are in here just because they work well with the top of the deck. So either setting the top of my deck with Worldly Tutor, Mystical Tutor, some Scrying and Sylvan Library to help know what's on top, and then abusing that a little bit with Future Sight and Oracle of Mul-Daya, but they also let you know what's there for other abilities. For instance, if I'm activating Intet, it's nice to know what's there. More ways to control it with Top and Scroll Rack. And then more cards to abuse it. Lurking Predators, Spellbound Dragon, Coiling Oracle, Djinn of Wishes, Proteus Staff. Alright. Then I've got a handful of sack outlets, Greater Gargadon, and then Greater Good, which is of course even better. Goblin Bombardment, because I've got a couple ways to steal things, and it's nice to have a sack outlet, either if I've stolen it with Dominance of Fealty, or just because I've got Stalking Vengeance and I want to end the game. Grab the Reins for some stealing and some sacrificing. And then Chain Reaction. I actually run almost no removal in any of my EDH decks. It's very different from most of the ones I play against. I play almost no targeted removal and almost no mass removal, and Chain Reaction is the only mass removal in the deck. Duplicant for a little bit of targeted removal, and I think that's the extent of creature targeted removal in this deck. Trastodon, and Acidic Slime for getting rid of other pesky things, and then, of course, Heretic to get rid of artifacts. Just so incredibly powerful, especially with Anger in the deck, to be able to take out things and deal a whole bunch of damage. People, even though I feel like it is a popular card, where I play it, no one uses it at all, so it's great to have. Survival of the Fittest, horribly markered up, turned black, but still works just as well. Wild Ricochet, Night Soil for just a bit of graveyard hate, and Nip Death Mantle for just a bit of graveyard abuse. This is my only deck that runs any counter spells, and it just runs these two, just the Double Negative and the Force of Will. I was actually surprised that Force of Will stopped somebody from doing Splinter Twin combo earlier this weekend. It's just nice to stop Wraths or whatever from going off. Then I've got a few cards that I only put in this one deck. I have a lot of decks, and I don't want it to be too redundant with super powerful cards, and it's crazy to me that Constant Mists is super powerful, but it really is. And there are too many decks out there that have zero answers to Constant Mists, so that's in there. Ulamog, another one that is great, but I don't want to see it too much because it's too powerful, along with Rider Replication, and Tooth and Nail, and Court of Calling. I love the cards, they're super powerful, but they end the game too quickly, and that's one part of the reason that Genesis Wave, for instance, isn't in this deck, because it's in a different deck, and I don't want to just go crazy with that in every single game. Predatory advantage, get a lot of 2/2s to throw to Goblin Bombardment or just to get a nice army out there for people who are running non-creature decks. Lower scale Quaddle because I have a lot of card draw, and the Sylvan Library and stuff like that can get pretty big. Stalking Vengeance ends games very fast, of course. Anger. Uyo Silent Prophet, so if I do cast the Tooth and Nail, I'll cast 4 Tooth and Nails, and then it's over. Mindwrack Liege. Seaborn Muse. Royal Elemental. Palaka Worm, just for a bit of life gain. Artisan of Kozilek. Kiki Jiki, who is probably in the most of my decks. Of any card I have, it is in the most, not in most of them. Riku. Deep Sea Kraken. Hamlet Black Goliath. The Dominance of Fealty, which I love. Eternal Witness. Hydra Omnivore, I don't love it, but I wanted to put it in a deck, and this is a deck that it fit into, so there it is. Horde Smelter Dragon, and then an Izzet Chronarch because it's this is my deck with the most sorceries and stuff. Thanks for watching CMDR Decks. Please subscribe and favorite.